Hello, we are about to go over the fare equity analysis by NiceBus. And this isn't so much about the fare increase, that's what this document's about, but this is about service and how NiceBus is actually violating Title VI when it comes to their service cuts. But I'm going to just read through this a little bit of it. This is about the Title VI, and it says, no person in the United States shall, on the ground of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, or denied the benefits of, or be subject to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. All right? Since NICE receives federal funding from the FTA via Nassau County, NICEBus must comply with the circular. All right? They also receive a lot of state funding as well. Actually, STOA is the State Transit Operating Assistance, is the majority of how NiceBus gets its money to operate. So they're talking about minority populations and low-income populations here. All right, and this is about the fares here, but I want to go over the map. All right, because they're going to go over maps here in a little bit here. All right, so this is the rider demographics of NiceBus, by the way. So you'll notice here that white people only make up about 9% of, just about 9%, just under 10% of NiceBus riders. Compared to a lot of other systems, NICE has a very high minority level. Biggest group of people that ride NiceBus are Black, African American, followed by Hispanic, Latino, followed by Asian, and then white. And then there's like a little bit of other here. So when you're cutting bus service, you're disproportionately affecting the minority population in Nassau County. And so this here is the map here. This is where things get interesting. All right. This is where the Title VI violation comes into play. So this is the map here, and the areas that are greener have a higher Hispanic or Latino population. And you notice Westbury, all throughout Westbury down to Hicksville, much of the middle of the island has a very high Hispanic and Latino population. All right. And this here that you see right here in the center of your screen, this is where the N22 and the N24 go. All right. So these are routes that have been cut, especially the eastern parts of the routes. These are routes that have been cut a lot under NiceBus when they did the split. You'll also notice another block between Hempstead, Uniondale, and Freeport. All right. And the redder the areas, the whiter they are, or less Hispanic or Latino population. All right. So, and they go over the concentrations here. Are clustered around. There is one modest concentration in the far northeast. Other key concentrations near Westbury, Hempstead, Plando Manor, Thomaston, Freeport, Hewlett Bay Park, Inwood, and Long Beach. All right. This is the percentage of Black. And again, you see very high amounts in Westbury. See how NiceBus is violating Title VI because they've disproportionately cut bus service in Westbury. All right. So we saw that with the schedule change. And again, you see the percentage of Black, again, high right throughout the Hempstead to Freeport corridor there. All right. Much of the South Shore, very white, and also in the western part of the county, you see another group, and then some small areas on the North Shore. All right. All right. And this is the Asian population. We see not really that many areas of Nassau County have high Asian population. And this is the percentage of Indian population. All right. This is Pacific Islander. All right. Low income populations. All right. So this lists the income of the NICE riders and then the average in Nassau County. So you see under 15,000, that's 30%. So you see most of the NICE riders are very low income. All right, and look at this gap here at the end, over 100,000. Literally 65% of people in this county make over 100,000 a year. Can you say no to the plan? Then we're being forced out. All right. This is about number of persons in household. And I'll provide you with the link of all this. These are the routes that they have, low income population by census tract and all that other stuff. All right. This is about the fare changes. But they've broken Title VI by making changes in bus service that are disproportionately affecting those areas. All right, so if we go to the schedules here, all right, here, we're going to go over these holiday schedules again because they are running skeleton service on the holidays, and those people, because they don't have cars, they're still going to be using the bus, even though it's the holiday. All right, so we look at these PDF schedules. All right, like the 22, for instance. All right. I mean, I can just go. Actually, I probably should just go to the regular. Well, because the PDFs I know are confusing, so let me just do that. I'll just go to the regular schedules here. All right. So if we go to 22, right, this is one of the routes that they really hit hard with cuts. All right, and we're talking about the eastern part of the route here, the part that goes between Mineola and Hicksville. And by the way, this is super confusing. All right, so we're looking at eastbound here. We're looking at a regular weekday schedule, all right? And they've cut a lot of service. Even on weekdays, you're only getting every service every half an hour now. And often after a certain hour a night, you're only getting service every hour after 9 o'clock. So they've cut a lot of service on that eastern leg of the 22, all right, already. So they did the split, and they do these splits so they can cut the service. That's why they do the splits. That's the real reason they do it. They kill the eastern part of the route. This is what Transdev is doing, and New York State funds this stuff. STOA makes up the majority of the budget for Nice Bus. All right. So you can see here, again, you see what's going on here. Again, after a certain period, you have hourly service when MTA Long Island Bus provided much more frequent and later service. All right. And the 24 has seen similar types of cuts. All right. And that area also, the red area also includes Stewart Avenue around Roosevelt Field, and they've taken a whole bunch of bus stops away on the N16. All right. They keep taking bus stops away. No hearing, no mention of any of this. This is why it's a Title VI violation. All right. So we're going to take a look again at these schedules for Thanksgiving Day tomorrow, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. Now, yeah, it's true. Ridership is much lower than a normal Sunday on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Probably won't be too chaotic, but it's still going to inconvenience. New Year's Day, on the other hand, a lot of places are still open, and you're going to have chaos. So, again, we're going to look at the 22 here and what they did here, and the eastern leg of the 22 in particular. How is this not a Title VI violation? 7:30 going west is the first bus that serves Westbury, right? And I'm not even going where they cut the service on the 35. Not even going there. They've cut service on the 35 too, all right? Then if you miss that, then you've got to wait till 10:15 for the next bus to take you west. And then it's every 2 hours. So it's almost less than 2 hours. Look at how few runs they have. And if you miss the 8:20, you're stranded, all right? So you can see the service west of Mineola every hour, east of Mineola less every 2 hours or less. And then going east, the last bus out of Mineola is 9:05, and that's it. All right? Very little service. This is skeleton service, and this is going to be on New Year's Day when a lot of people do shopping and stuff. It's going to be absolute bedlam. And we have time now between now and New Year's Day. I'm going to see if we can get, I don't know. I'm hoping Passengers United can get involved in this. I'm working with them as well. We can get a judge possible to issue an injunction to force Nice Bus to run regular Sunday schedule, at least for New Year's Day. All right, honestly, this needs to be taken to court because this is illegal right here, what they're doing. This is a clear Title VI violation because you're disproportionately cutting service. You're removing access from a community of color, a community of lower income, and without even a week's notice. So that is a Title VI violation right then and there, all right? And they've done the same thing with the 24, as you know. Only service every 2 hours. That's it. And the last trip going west is 7:35, and that's it. And going east, the last trip is 8:05. So you're very limited service, by the way. All right. I think they did the same thing with the 25. The 25 runs almost every hour. Yeah, it's a little more often. They have a little more service on the 25 because that serves, again, demographically, the ridership serves wealthier areas, so it's going to have better service. All right. We look at the 32. The 32 has a regular hourly service, and that probably would be enough. All right. The 4041 still its half-hourly service. Went over that already. Went over all these routes. The 7071 also seeing hourly service as well. Generally, maybe a little bit less than hourly at times. And the 49 is seeing every other hour. So they're seeing every other hour, and I think the 55 also seeing every other hour, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. All right. But it's interesting how those routes are getting just as much service as routes that serve poorer areas. All right. The 23. Let's see if they fixed this 23 thing. They finally did, and that service is only going to be every 2 hours. That's it. I mean, this is insane how they did that schedule. I mean, they just printed this up like it doesn't even look like their normal schedule or whatever. I mean, it's clear and everything, but they just printed this up, you know. The 15, meanwhile, gets hourly service. That's still going to be a disaster on New Year's Day, I think. But the 35 only gets every other hour. And the last trip doesn't even go all the way to Westbury. So, and again, every 2 hours. I mean, this is Nice Bus is the only system that's doing this. So, I do see Title VI violations here. It's pretty clear what's going on. And I've said it before, and I've said it again. They're yanking bus stops away from the middle of the island. At Stewart Avenue, for instance. All right? Like on the 16 now, if you don't... This bus stop by the depot is the last bus stop, and then the next bus stop is until Roosevelt. They've yanked a whole bunch of bus stops away from Stewart Avenue. Meanwhile, if we go to Rockville Centre, there's like a bus stop every couple of blocks. I mean, if we look at the 15, you look at the map here. There's a bus stop here, and then there's another one over here, and another one over there, and then another one over there. It's so obvious what is going on here. And coming up, hopefully maybe I'll get to it sometime this weekend, where I'm going to try to find out who these people are that run the Nice Bus Board and where they live. I'm not going to give their actual address, but it's a town and their career, because it's obvious that Blakeman, despite what they said at the meeting, they said it at the meeting, Blakeman does not control what's going on at Nice Bus. It's obviously he does. That's just a lie right there, all right? And they're violating Title VI by these changes. And like I said, I think that being that they get the majority of their money from the state, they do get the majority of the money from from the state. All right, STOA, State Operating Assistance. All right, and being that the state is the majority of the funding for Nice Bus, and they are doing these cuts, I think it's a big problem. I really do. I think it's a big problem that we have. And let's see, we can probably go to some of this. You can't find these links on the site here. Nassau County Charter. Here's the members. So we're going to look into these people. All right. Meeting notice and agenda, meeting presentation, performance scorecard. Here's the meeting presentation, which we'll go over here a little bit here as well. They just go over on-time performance. Omni is coming. About time for that. Of course, if we had MTA Long Island Bus, we would have probably had Omni months and months ago. But the last thing I'm going to share with you is something you shouldn't really be surprised about. It's all about the South Shore. Gillen secures $42 million in funding for Nassau Intercounty Express bus replacements and station upgrades in Rockville Centre, because they're going to be reopening the Rockville Centre Depot, which I do support. So it says Congressman Laura Gillen released the following statement announcing $42 million in federal grant funding awarded to Nassau County and the village of Rockville Centre for the Nassau Intercounty Express Nice Bus to purchase modern low-emissions buses and rehabilitate the county bus facility in Rockville Centre. Gillen met with the Federal Transportation Authority Administrator Mark Molinaro earlier this year to directly push for this critical funding, emphasizing how these improvements will benefit Long Island families and grow the region's economy. And this will be used to enhance service in that area. So I am delighted to help deliver $42 million in federal grant funding to Nassau County that will help upgrade the Nice Bus fleet and make station improvements to the county facility, improving transportation options and reliability, especially to benefit families, residents, and businesses across Long Island's South Shore. So we're going to continue to get our service cut. They're going to continue to have better service, better investment. It's all about the South Shore. That is where you got to be. If you're not there, then you might as well just live in a forest somewhere. That's the way they think around here, all right? So this is what's going on. So the grant would be used to replace 28 buses at the end of their useful lives with modern CNG buses. So I guess they're going to be reopening the Rockville Centre bus depot for CNG buses. And I think that's great. But my concern, of course, is that we're going to see service improve on the South Shore while the middle of the island continues to see its service cut. We've seen service cut to Roosevelt Field with the N15 and the N35s running less often now. And this is going to continue. So this is what's going to happen. It's, again, all about the South Shore, this area. The depot, by the way, the Rockville Centre bus depot is right here. And I'm sure the people in this building here, they thought they bought their apartments and they're not going to have to deal with a bus depot. But that bus depot is going to open, and they're going to be complaining, I'm sure, about the buses. I can't. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen with that. But this is the CNG fueling station right here, the old Long Island bus, Rockville Centre depot. And like I said, I do think it should be reopened. I think that we need 2 depots on Long Island. I'm not opposed to it, but we all know it's all about enhancing service on the South Shore. We all know that's the area that's important. And we, in the middle of the island, are going to be forgotten. And they're probably going to take more service away from us and give it to the South Shore. This is all part of the big plan here. This is civilization here. This area is civilization, and where I live is a wasteland. It doesn't matter if they're violating Title VI. It doesn't matter. Blakeman's in on it. The state's probably in on it, because the state, you think they care that they're spending all this money on a bus system that's taking service away from the poorest residents of the county. But they're not going to do anything because they're all corrupt. It's all part of the big plan, and we have to speak up against this stuff. But honestly, the only solution is the obvious one, and that is to bring Long Island Bus back. Bring MTA Long Island Bus back, all right? The MTA, with all its problems, is still would provide better service than Nice Bus. And we're going to actually rewind the clock here before I end this video and show you what things look like. I guess we're going to have to go all the way back to December 2007. And there are the buses. They're nice. Look at all those Long Island buses we had. Yeah, the Orion 5 CNGs. The good old days that we had here at Long Island Bus. And this is Rockville Centre before it got all fancy. Wasn't as fancy back then. But yeah, these are the Long Island buses that we had here. And Long Island Bus provided much, much more service than Nice Bus will ever provide. All the routes that have been, we have less bus service on almost all the routes. You're waiting longer for a bus that's going to be less reliable. And in other areas, you have bus services that are just completely taken away. Look what they did in Glen Cove. They mentioned Glen Cove in the Title VI equity analysis, yet you don't have the N27 running on weekends. And I love how they show the Jones Beach bus. It's so obvious where their priorities are. So we're going to talk more in the future about how corrupt Nice Bus is. They're basically Blakeman and Nice Bus are in cahoots, looking out for the South Shore, looking out for those areas so their businesses do well, while the middle of the island continues to get less desirable, and they continue to trap people here with less bus service, and they have to make a choice. Like I have to make a choice. Do we stay here, or do we have to go and leave Long Island or move somewhere else? Because we're being driven out by these changes, because this county has been hijacked by Wall Street, by the rich. If you think it's bad at the MTA, it's a million times worse at Nassau County. Unfortunately, we got 4 more years of this piece of garbage, Bruce Blakeman, and the people seem to think he's doing a great job. Well, when you look at the fact that the 65% of people in Nassau County make over 6 figures, this is not a place for somebody like me. We're being forced out. But I'll tell you this, I'm not going to be forced out without a fight, without speaking up about it. That's for sure. That's it for now. Have a good night.